Welcome to Groove Portia, a space for individuals to share how they found their groove through moments of adversity. I am your host, Portia Booker, better known as Portia, the producer. Thank you for joining me. Let's dive in. All right, guys, welcome to Groove with Portia season number 2. Oh my goodness, it feels amazing to be back. Now, would y'all believe the last show I recorded was back in December of 2022? Some of you guys who follow me on Facebook know that the radio station WOVU allowed me to host the show live. And I asked all of you who tuned in, who, have been a part of Groove with Portia's history, to be a participant by submitting a question that you've always wanted to ask me that I read live on air. I got to admit, I got some really, really good questions and feedback from a lot of you, and I truly appreciate all of you answering the call to be a part of this final episode of Groove with Portia season number 1. You guys, let me start off, of course, you know how I do, with sharing what I am truly grateful for. Number 1, my rich relationships that I've cultivated over the last 3 years. I mean, Groove with Portia has opened so many amazing doors of opportunity, and I've built some strong bonds with some just fantastic, amazing people. I mean, shout out to my coaches, Dawn, Natasha, Nefertari, Tanya, Lisa, just to name a few, Brenda. I met each and every one of them through Groove with Portia in some way. And I remember years ago when I struggled to really have rich, cultivating relationships where I felt more like a loner. I felt as though I couldn't relate to people. So I'm truly grateful for the rich network of individuals who are a part of my journey, and I get to be a part of theirs. I'm also grateful for all of you who have continued to support me even through my hiatus from hosting. Thank you guys so much for continuing to download my previous shows and listen to all the nuggets that I drop with the different guests who have come on my show. Now, I got to admit, y'all, really, really fast, I am somebody who truly does listen to past shows. I definitely do. And when I listen to past shows, I not only listen for different nuggets that I didn't hear before, but let me be honest, y'all, I've learned to own and love my voice because for the longest time I did not like my voice. I think I've shared this with some of you before that I always felt as though my voice was a little too deep and I wanted more of a softer voice. But hey, that's what makes us all unique, right? We're all cut from a different cloth. But when I do listen back to my previous shows, I listen for different pieces of wisdom that I can take from the guests and implement into my own life. I also sometimes don't realize the different nuggets that I drop from my own wisdom repertoire. So, it's definitely one of those things where you get more sometimes when you go back and listen a second or third or fourth time. Anybody do that with books? I know I do that with Gary Vaynerchuk's book every year. I always listen to I'm Crushing It around this time of year because every time I do it, I learn something new. But that's for definitely a whole nother day. But I'll be honest with y'all, I kind of went on a little tangent. I'm definitely grateful. The last thing I'm definitely grateful for is my mother. God rest her soul, because she really pushed me to begin Groove with Portia. I think some of you heard this story that Groove with Portia was supposed to be a co-hosted show. And I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do it on my own because I had always been I don't want to say the backup singer, but I was always used to being a part of a group, and to do things solo at times is scary, right? When you take the baton and you're standing there at the line and you can either run backwards or run forwards. And I took it and ran forward. And so I'm truly grateful for my mom really being that cheerleader for me in the initial stages of Groove with Portia. And I'll be honest with you guys, I almost ran away from doing season 2 of Groove with Portia, right? But You don't realize how much you miss something until you take a break from it. So we're going to take a quick break right here on Grew with Portia, everybody. Stick with us. We will be right back. Hey guys, did you remember that I also co-host another podcast? Make sure you tune into the Soulful Conversations podcast. You hear from myself, Portia the producer, Dawn Earhart-Whitty, founder of the Desire to Inspire Foundation, Natasha Khan, founder of Empowered Voices, and also Nefertari McGriff, founder of Transcendent Living. And you will learn how to overcome life's greatest challenges from our personal journeys. So if you're ready to be the change you wish to see in the world, make sure you check us out. Now, back to Grew with Portia. All right, everybody, welcome back from the break. So I was just going into how I tried to run away from doing season 2 of Grew with Portia. And so to give you all a little tidbit on why I want to do season 2 and what the focus is going to be, right? So season 2 with Grew with Portia is going to focus on a healthy mindset, or similar to the retreat that I was just a part of in Florida, heal the mind, elevate the soul. And I'll be honest, y'all already know how I do. I take trips down memory lane from time to time. So I had the opportunity to spend time going through some of my old things, and I found my diary from 2017. And when I looked through this month, exactly March in 2017, I made a commitment to really work on my mindset. And so on this very day, March 24, 2017, I made a career pivot. I left my television career. So those of you who know the story, here is obviously a repeat for you, and don't spoil it for the newbies on the journey in Portia's herstory. So I'll give you guys the short version. So I turned in my resignation for my television job at NBC. And I have to admit that it was definitely one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make, because I had worked so hard to land that job. And little digression, I applied for the job as a joke. Those of you who know, I found the job on Facebook, and I sent in my reel at the time along with my resume, and the producer from the station called me an hour later, and literally I said, "Oh, shiitake mushrooms, this is definitely real." So I'll digress there and go into it more another day. But when I look back on making that decision to resign from my television career as a producer, it was the best thing I could have done, because my mindset definitely was in a dark place. It was in an unhealthy space. And I'll be honest, I've had a pattern of what you call all or nothing thinking, as known as stinking thinking. So, of course, in my mind, I was either going to be this big time producer working my way up the corporate ladder, or I was a complete failure if I didn't have that title in my life, right? So you know how you want something to work out in your exact favor, but even if it doesn't, it really does work out for you in the long run, right? So, trigger warning for you guys. A month prior to my television career resignation in 2017, I actually almost ended my life over my TV career crumpling. Now, when I look back on this today, my all or nothing thinking held me a prisoner and landed me in the boat of now being a recovering perfectionist. And this is why I wanted to do season 2 of Grew with Portia, because I realized there's so many of us who are not in a healthy space mentally, but also there's this trending word called mindset shift, if we can be very transparent here. And question for everybody, right? Let's be real and honest. How do you shift your mind when you don't even realize that that is the root to your imprisonment in your life, right? How many of us know what our limiting beliefs are? I know a few of mine. And how do these limiting beliefs play a role in keeping you stuck? Right? So these are the key areas that I want to focus on in season 2 of Grew with Portia. So you will hear from me a lot more on my journey of still healing and working through these different mindset shifts that I've had to do the last couple years. And also, I will be bringing on different leaders, thought leaders, on ways that they've learned to heal their mind through what they currently do. Because I'm a firm believer, y'all, mental health is mental wealth. I'm going to say that again. Mental health is mental wealth. All right, y'all. I wanted to keep this a little short just to give you a little teaser on what we are going to be doing here on Grew with Portia in season number 2. So I thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, peace and hair grease, y'all.